When we talk about discipline, we've been told the same things for years. Force yourself. Be more motivated. Have stronger willpower. Don't be lazy or comfort-seeking. Society has always framed discipline as something purely personal, as if you're the problem, as if the missing piece is something inside you. But there's something almost no one explains properly. Discipline isn't just a mental issue. In fact, a large part of what's said about discipline is incomplete or coming from the wrong angle. Because one of the most critical pieces of being disciplined is usually completely overlooked: your environment, or in other words, environment design. What you're exposed to during the day, what's in front of your eyes, what's easy and what's hard, all of these shape your behavior far more than you realize. Discipline isn't just an inner force, it's the result of the system and the environment you build around yourself. In this video, I want to talk about how we can create the right environment and the right environment design to become truly disciplined. Because one of the most important conditions of being disciplined doesn't come from forcing yourself, but from designing your environment the right way. If you're ready, let's begin. Section 1. The brain chooses what's easy. Discipline has always been described to us as a character trait. Some people are disciplined, some aren't. Some have strong willpower, others have weak willpower. But there's a serious problem with this perspective, because when you place the same person in different environments, they can behave completely differently. Someone who does nothing at home can study for hours in a library. Someone who is disciplined at the gym can't maintain the same structure once they get back home. If discipline were truly a matter of character, behavior wouldn't change this dramatically when the environment changes. The real issue is this: the brain didn't evolve to be disciplined. It evolved to survive. And one of the most basic rules of survival is conserving energy. To understand discipline, you have to understand the brain correctly. The brain naturally chooses the path that requires the least effort. It prefers what's easy, what's accessible, and what catches the eye first. You can think about this in your own life as well. If there's a place you can reach by car, you choose the car instead of walking. You prefer ordering food instead of preparing a meal at home. The option that requires less energy always feels more attractive. That's why discipline is often not about forcing yourself, but about redirecting the brain's natural tendencies in the right direction. There's also the willpower side of the equation. Willpower isn't as strong as we tend to believe. In fact, it's a limited resource. Every decision you make during the day creates a mental cost. What you'll eat, what you'll wear, whether you'll check your phone or not, all of these slowly drain your willpower. If you start the day with 100 units of willpower, making too many decisions throughout the day causes that number to drop quickly. By the afternoon, it might be down to 11, and by the end of the day, you say, "I lost focus again." But most of the time, the problem isn't laziness. What's actually depleted is your willpower. People who work mentally intense jobs know this very well. Those who study for long hours or stay focused at a desk understand it deeply. Even if you don't move physically, at some point a serious mental fatigue builds up. This is the exhaustion created by constantly forcing yourself through willpower. You're trying to make the brain do things it doesn't naturally want to choose. That's why for many people the problem isn't laziness, it's decision fatigue. It's willpower fatigue. Discipline is not something that can be sustained by constantly forcing yourself. Because the brain will always push back. It tries to pull you toward what's easier. It creates excuses. It makes you procrastinate. But when you design your environment correctly, the brain can't resist it. On the contrary, it starts to push you automatically toward the right behavior. What we call discipline is actually needing less willpower in the right environment. The less willpower you have to use throughout the day, the more disciplined a system you've built. The core truth is this: there is no such thing as a lazy person. There are people placed in the wrong environment, surrounded by the wrong environmental factors. And without changing your environment, without designing it around the life you want to live, you can't break this cycle by simply blaming yourself. Section 2. What is environment design and how does it work? What we call environment design is essentially about making the invisible rules that guide you throughout the day conscious. What you can reach more easily, what you're forced to see, what has obstacles placed in front of it, what requires extra effort. All of these shape your behavior without you even realizing it. The environment is a quiet but constantly running system. Most people, when trying to become disciplined, focus only on themselves. They try to be more motivated, to push themselves harder, to strengthen their willpower. But as long as the environment stays the same, the outcome stays the same, because willpower is temporary. The environment is permanent. It keeps working even when you're not fully aware or alert. The core logic of environment design is simple. Make the behavior you want easier and make the behavior you don't want harder. That's it. The brain is already inclined to choose what's easy. Instead of trying to fight this tendency, you turn it to your advantage. This is where discipline truly begins. The less friction a behavior requires, the more often that behavior gets repeated. What we call friction is sometimes made up of very small details, whether an object is visible, whether an app sits on your home screen, whether a habit requires an extra step. These details may seem small, but they have a huge impact on behavior. That's why environment design isn't about forcing yourself. It's about protecting yourself. It's about accounting for your weak moments, accepting that you won't always be strong, motivated, or determined, and building the system accordingly. Disciplined people don't rely on their willpower. They rely on their environment. There's an important point here. Environment design isn't about creating a perfect setup. It's not about controlling everything. It's about noticing the things that sabotage you and consciously adjusting them, removing some things from your sight and placing other things directly in front of it. When you design your environment, you start to notice this. You think less, you make fewer decisions, and you struggle less. The right behavior becomes more automatic. Discipline stops being a battle and becomes a result. In the next section, I'll give examples from everyday life. Section 3, Environment Design in Everyday Life. Discipline isn't shaped by big decisions, but by small behaviors repeated every day. And a large portion of these behaviors are triggered by our environment without us even noticing. That's why environment design shows its real power not in theory, but in everyday life. Let's start with exercise. Most people who don't want to go to the gym aren't actually avoiding the workout itself. They're avoiding the preparation process, finding the clothes, packing the bag, looking for the shoes. These are all small but discouraging obstacles. If you want to work out, you need to turn exercise from a decision into a reflex. Prepare your clothes the night before and place them somewhere visible. Set a fixed time for yourself, and when that time comes, leave and go to the gym without thinking. The shorter the path you have to take, the higher the chance you'll actually go. The same logic applies to your work setup. A messy desk creates a messy mind. If your phone is on the desk, tabs are open, and unnecessary items are around, expecting focus isn't realistic. If you want to work, your desk should exist only for work. The phone needs to be away, and distractions must be removed from the environment. Otherwise, you're forced to rely on willpower to work, which leads to decision fatigue. To avoid willpower fatigue, you need to keep the environment simple and clear from the start. Nutrition is another very clear example of this. You eat what's available at home. If you bring junk food into your house, your mind goes there as well. Yes, you can try not to eat it using willpower, but that again creates willpower fatigue. If you want to eat healthier, the most logical approach is to not bring the things you don't want into your home at all. You should make healthy options visible, accessible, and easy. Unhealthy options should be removed from the environment or made harder to reach. You've probably heard the saying, you don't make good decisions when you're hungry. Going to the supermarket while hungry is often a mistake, because you end up buying things you shouldn't. This isn't a willpower problem, it's an environmental problem, and this is exactly what you need to manage. When it comes to attention management, the phone is one of the biggest examples. If your phone is on the desk, your hand naturally reaches for it. If notifications are on, your focus gets interrupted. You can't solve this by blaming yourself and saying, I'm addicted to my phone, but you can solve it by making access harder, turning off notifications, removing apps you don't want from your home screen, leaving the phone in another room. Which method you choose is up to you. But small changes create big differences. Sleep is also directly connected to your environment. Spending time on your phone before bed makes it harder to fall asleep because of the blue light from the screen. Your sleep quality drops. If you replace that habit with reading a book instead of using your phone, falling asleep becomes much easier. If you say, I forget to read, the solution is again in your environment. Place the book you want to read next to your bed. See it every time you lie down. Seeing reminds you. Remembering triggers the behavior. All of these examples share the same core idea. Discipline is not about forcing yourself. It's about making the right behavior the easiest option. When you design your environment correctly, you don't need to constantly rely on willpower. You naturally move toward the right behavior. And the best part is this. Once you build the system correctly, you don't have to fight the same battle every single day. Discipline stops being a war. Over time, you simply become a disciplined person. At this point, there's something you should have realized. If you've thought of yourself as undisciplined until now, you were probably focusing on the wrong things. You blamed yourself, forced your willpower, searched for motivation. But while doing all of that, you missed the most important thing, environment design, because behavior doesn't change unless the environment changes. Discipline is not an inner force. It's definitely not about forcing yourself every day. Discipline is the inevitable result of the system you build around your life. In the right environment, the right behavior happens naturally. So the core message is very clear. Don't try to fix yourself, fix your environment, because whatever you're exposed to every day, you eventually become. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to share them in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Your support truly means a lot to me. Take care.